hear me, please listen. My name is Kyle Crane, and I'm sending this message from inside the Huron quarantine. Colonel Tanner and the Ministry of Defense have lied to you. There are still survivors inside the walls. They plan to firebomb Huron, but if those bombs drop, you will know Tanner and the Ministry are cold-blooded murderers.
Holy shit! There's someone alive in the quarantine zone? Hey, do you copy? Do you copy? It's Walter! I knew it!
Oh boy. Oh,
that was too close.
We did it. We fucking did it. After we got the radio working and stopped the bombing of the city, we got a call from one Vulcan Doll, requesting we meet him and the twins at their vehicle assembly facility. Seeing as how we just saved the whole city from a fiery death, I'd say we deserved a small break for a few minutes, so we went to go see what was up. Ironically, this facility of theirs was a cave just north of the antenna. Turns out they've been trying to build a submarine with all the parts we'd gathered for them. Dole gave us the honors of launching it into the water. It looked like it was going to work. It was floating at least, before it decided to blow itself up. After tossing ideas around, Dole decided he wanted a jetpack next. Poor bastard's gonna die at the hands of these two loons. We used the tunnel to the north to head back to Old Town. Damn thing nearly made me sick with all the massive piles of flesh and corpses inside. Once we were finally breathing the fresh air of O-Town, Crane radioed Camden to let him know we were on our way to him with the samples. Now that we've bought some time, we can focus on what brought us to Sector 0 in the first place. Why does it not surprise me that there were a group of Rise's special lads trying to get in the building when we got there? Hello, Huron Pest Control! Camden directed us to use the elevator to get to the underground level. We already knew he flooded the floor with Zeds to protect himself from Rise's crew, so we were ready to fight our way through. We were told the building was running on backup power due to an experiment that Camden was doing that required extra juice. The place was, by far, the most unnerving place I'd been to in the city yet for some reason. As we made our way through the facility, Camden kept talking with us. It had been several weeks since he'd been able to talk to anyone face to face, so I understood how he felt. The power needed to be restored before we'd be able to get through the decontamination chamber and get to Camden. But once we were in, it felt good to finally be able to hand Camden the first half of Zara's research. While we were pushing through the maze that is Camden's lab, he kept talking about his time with Zara and this GRE operative he was working with when the pandemic started. Crane showed Camden a picture of Amir, and it was confirmed. He was the operative. Crane told me he had absolutely no idea. He thought he was the only GRE op in the city. Seems this may have sparked something inside him, because as soon as we were outside again, he said he needed to contact them. I've already made sure we've achieved everything that could be done for the survivors earlier. All that mattered was ending this shit show, no matter what. Crane and I have been through this much together. I'm not about to back out of it now.
This is Crane, do you copy?
Kyle Crane, you can hear me, can you not?
Rise. Where are you?
Exactly where I should be, atop my own tower. Of course, mine is not quite complete, but it still stands as a monument to chaos, to entropy, to what it means to be ruled only by oneself.
I'll kill you for what you did to Jade. For everything, I will fucking kill you.
I had hoped that would be your attitude. You see, we are at war, you and I. A war of opposing philosophies. A war to see whose vision of the world proves true. Come, Crane. Come and challenge me. What is it you Americans are so fond of saying? I dare you.
You know what? Forget it. There is no war. There's only your fucked up outlook. Go to hell.
Oh, no. I won't be going to hell. I will be leaving Harando. You see, I have made a deal with our GRE brothers, using your very own communicator, no less. They know I have all of Dr. Zera's research data. They call it the keys to the kingdom. Very shortly, a helicopter will come and take me away. Imagine the damage I shall be able to do outside the confines of these walls. Of course, if you think you can stop me.
You crazy son of a bitch!
That is what I had hoped to hear. Come and find me, Crane. Let us finish what we began.
So, it's time for one last climb. The clock was against us, so we didn't waste any time. The same sewer that had led us to Old Town was our one way back to the slums. At least this time we weren't fighting a whole horde to get to the end. Once back out into the sunlight, Rise's largest tower was our next target. It's one fuck of a climb, but that was where Rise was going to try to make his escape, and we weren't about to let that happen. Inside, though, was quiet. Too quiet. The first open area we found was a small, unfinished floor full of corpses and several of Rise's goons turned Zed. Rise started saying something stupid, pretending to be philosophical again, but Crane cut him off, saying he was the last thing we wanted to hear. Of course, this caused Rise to turn from using the radio to a speaker system that was set up around the construction site. Well, I agree with Crane. I don't agree with getting a bunch of fucking Zeds set on our asses like they're dogs. Runners, goons, demolishers, so many Zeds, I lost fucking count. We were forced to book it and find an opening. Unfortunately, the only one we found was a set of pipes leading underground. Here we go again! It was worse than dealing with the Zeds above ground. A screamer alerted volatiles that we were there. I was pelting every single flare I had to try to keep them off us. Ledges, zip lines, raised gates we could slide under. We were using every advantage we could find, all the while just throwing flares over our shoulder every time we heard a volatile scream. Salvation came as we reached this massive ass drop with one small solitary ladder on the other side. The ladder cut off halfway down the drop, meaning nothing was going to chase us, seeing as all the volatiles were stupid and fell down the hole. We needed to catch our breath after that one. We came back out in that goddamn pit of his, though this time it looked a lot worse for wear. With nothing in our way, we pushed forward while Rise continued to try to taunt us over the loudspeakers. Man loved his own voice too fucking much. A construction elevator was able to take us most of the way up. Praise fucking sanity! The floors were similar to the volatile nest we blew up. Wide open, unfinished floors with large groups of Zeds to push through. On the next floor up, we found Kareem sitting on the ground, nursing a gunshot wound. Poor bastard was in a bad way, barely able to talk. He told us Rise betrayed every last one of his followers, and with his final breath, he warned us that there was a trap waiting for us ahead on the next 2 floors. The only way around it being the second block. Following Kareem's tip, we rerouted to the second block using a crane to jump between the buildings, and climbing as far as we could. Again, we had to fight through hordes of undead, but this time we were fueled with the added anger of Kareem's death. How in the hell we didn't die is beyond me. Parts of the path were scaffolding, others small support beams with gaps between them, each turn greeting us with more Zeds. The elevator shaft led us up the final climb. The whole of the upper structure had support via a beam system running straight down the shaft, making it easier for us to climb up. Still, Rise just kept on talking. That's fine. It only made us climb faster. Atop the crane, Rise was getting impatient. Out of one of the windows to the other building, a rocket was launched, impacting with the base of the crane, causing it to fall forward. Without any time to think, we ran across the arm of the falling crane to the only available option we had, large panels that were extended from the side of the building. There was nothing beneath us but air, and one hell of a long way down. I saw a catwalk up near where the panels ended, so we started climbing for it. No way into the building left us with no choice but to tightrope across a giant panel that was curving across the face of the building to the other side of the floor. We found some support beams that hadn't been fully hidden in a wall yet, allowing us up onto the next floor where, you guessed it, we had more panels to climb. Rise was waiting for us, standing near the edge, holding the research like he was about to drop it. Man was determined to toy with us till the end. Crane made the argument that with or without the research, we were going to kill him. Rise tossed the container towards Crane, and as he caught it, Rise threw a throwing knife at Crane's heart. I tried my best to catch it, but Crane moved enough for it to hit his shoulder instead. The container dropped to the ground, and Rise stood over it with a machete in hand. Ever the one to keep talking, Rise said we were right about one thing. Suleiman was dead. He died along with his brother the day the GRE failed to airlift him out, leaving nothing but Rise in his wake. Though there were two of us, and Rise only had one arm, we were both so tired from the climb, it was all we could do just to avoid his swings. Rise continued to run his mouth as we all stumbled around that small platform, saying shit like, "We don't belong there. We don't know what real suffering is." "We know what it is, you asshole. You caused nothing but suffering. You think just because you suffered, you're allowed to make others suffer as well? That's not how the world works, and I won't let it become how it works." When the moment opened, I knocked the machete out of his hands and ran my sword straight through his guts. Removing the blade from him to let him bleed, I stumbled and collapsed onto my ass while Crane loomed over him. Rise taunted him again, coaxing him to end it like he did with Tahir. Crane was through with it, though, saying that if Rise wanted us to make our own rules, then rule number 1, Rise is to suffer for the rest of his goddamned life. With Rise down and out against a pillar, Crane moved to pick up the research. That's when it happened. I barely had the energy to move, leaving Rise to get the drop on Crane and tackle him onto the container suspended next to the building. Though I tried to move to help him, I felt a sharp-ass pain run down one of my legs. The sudden movement pulled something. Crane was hanging off the side while Rise was moving towards him. Rise was trying to use the research as his last bargaining chip. Crane handed over, and Rise promised to make his death quick and painless, or doom the whole city with his fate. Crane made one hell of a decision, though, because Rise forgot one thing. After Crane tossed the research up onto the container, Rise tried to mess with Crane's hand, which was holding on, leaving him time to pull the throwing knife out of his shoulder and drive it right into Rise's throat. While we were catching our well-deserved breath, the helicopter arrived and continued to circle the building. The bitch from the GRE tried to give Crane a way out of the city one last time. With a shit-eating grin, he told the bitch to pretend for a second that he's not stupid. They need the cure to cover their asses. It's somewhere here in the city. And while it is, they won't dare pull some ministry bullshit again to try and wipe Haran from the map. As the helicopter flew off, Camden called over the radio to say the tissue sample analysis had completed, and the results were phenomenal. All he needed was the rest of Zara's research. We told him we were holding it, and we'd be in contact soon. For now, I'd say we both deserved a fucking break, and some damn sleep back in the tower. Remember to stay safe out there, runners. Good night, and good luck.